In 2011, deep in the arid outback of South Australia, Peter Ashton was inspecting Boolcoomatta Reserve when he noticed a small shape moving across Eagle Rock. He stopped and looked again. Standing before him was a yellow-footed rock-wallaby, its striped tail, orange shoulders, and vivid markings making it seem almost unreal. The species had not been officially recorded at Boolcoomatta since 1924. For 86 years, there had been no confirmed sign of it. This 63,000-hectare property had once carried as many as 90,000 sheep. When Bush Heritage Australia purchased the land in 2006 and removed the livestock, many people believed a valuable working station had simply been thrown away. The soil was heavily compacted. Annual rainfall was less than 8 inches, and red foxes were widespread. Few believed an ecosystem this depleted could ever recover. But then the wallabies returned. After them came birds thought to have vanished from the area. And years later, 272 individuals of one of the rarest bird species on Earth were discovered here. So what changed on land once trampled by 90,000 sheep, allowing species absent for nearly a century to find their own way home? Boolcoomatta lies along the edge of the Uluru Ranges, about 100 miles west of Broken Hill. From a distance, it appears to be little more than a flat, brown, sun-scorched landscape, broken only by saltbush plains, sparse mulga woodland, and creek beds that carry water only after rare rainfall. But long before Europeans arrived, the Adnyamathanha and Waliakali peoples had cared for this country for thousands of years. To the Adnyamathanha, the yellow-footed rock-wallaby, known as the andu, was more than a wild animal. It was a symbol woven into their culture and collective memory. Then the sheep arrived. At its peak, Boolcoomatta carried as many as 90,000 of them. On land receiving less than 8 inches of rain a year, that pressure was enormous. Their hooves hardened the soil, sending rainwater across the surface instead of allowing it to soak in. They stripped away grasses, shrubs, and young shoots before they had any chance to recover. For the plains wanderer, that transformation was devastating. This small bird depends on an unusually precise habitat, vegetation low enough to move through, open enough for feeding, yet dense enough to conceal its nest. Once grazing destroyed that fragile structure, the bird had nowhere left to survive. Then came the red fox. Introduced to Australia in the 19th century, it rapidly devastated populations of small mammals and ground-nesting birds. Native species that had never evolved alongside such a predator had almost no defenses against it. By around 1924, the yellow-footed rock-wallaby had vanished from Boolcoomatta. As generations passed, people slowly forgot how much life this country had once supported. The landscape became so depleted that its silence began to seem normal. In 2006, Bush Heritage Australia purchased Boolcoomatta with a question that sounded almost too simple. What would happen if people stopped adding pressure to the land and finally gave it a chance to recover on its own? Removing all 90,000 sheep from the reserve was not an easy decision. The people who had managed the station were not careless destroyers, and some of the saltbush plains had remained in relatively good condition. The real problem was that decades of pressure from sheep, feral goats, red foxes, and compacted soil had pushed the ecosystem beyond what it could withstand. Once the sheep were gone, 2 strategies were introduced at the same time. Low earthen banks were built across creek lines to slow rainfall, trap sediment, and give native seeds enough time to germinate. At the same time, Operation Bounceback continued controlling red foxes and feral goats across the wider landscape. Since the program began, more than 200,000 feral goats have been removed. By 2018, a survey at Boolcoomatta found no foxes at all, in a region where densities had once reached between 10 and 20 foxes per 100 square kilometers. Within only a few years, saltbush began returning, creek lines held water for longer, and bare ground slowly filled with native grasses and shrubs. But that success raises an unavoidable question. To restore land that has been severely degraded, must livestock be removed completely, or can farming and nature still be managed side by side? I would genuinely like to know your answer. Leave your opinion in the comments and tell everyone which path you would choose. As the habitat began to recover and pressure from red foxes declined, something happened that no one had planned. Yellow-footed rock-wallabies returned to Eagle Rock, a place where the species had not been recorded since 1924. No animals were brought in by truck or aircraft. DNA analysis by the University of Adelaide showed that they were closely related to the population at Bimbury Conservation Park, about 15 kilometers from Boolcoomatta. As fox numbers fell across the region, young wallabies dispersed from the neighboring population, crossed the harsh outback on their own, and reached a place safe enough to remain. They began breeding, and by 2017, wallabies were being seen regularly across the reserve. That same year, Emily Matthews encountered a plains wanderer standing in the middle of a dirt road at dusk. Researchers later found a female, a male, and an active nest containing eggs. This bird is the only surviving member of an entire family that evolved in isolation for roughly 60 million years. If it disappears, a unique branch of evolutionary history will vanish with it. The discovery at Boolcoomatta was initially treated as an anomaly. For years, scientists believed the plains wanderer's most important habitat existed mainly in Victoria and New South Wales, while the semi-arid country of South Australia was considered little more than the edge of its range. But in August 2025, a peer-reviewed study led by University of Adelaide PhD candidate Saskia Gahati overturned that assumption. The research team used nighttime spotlight surveys, automated acoustic recorders, and miniature GPS devices fitted to the birds to track animals that were exceptionally difficult to detect. Data collected from September 2022 through May 2024 confirmed 272 plains wanderers at Boolcoomatta, including 211 adults and 61 dependent chicks. With the entire global adult population estimated at only 250 to 1,000 individuals, this single reserve may now hold as many as 1/4 of all plains wanderers still alive on Earth. The recovery extended far beyond one species. White-winged fairy wrens increased by 235%, redthroats by 395%, and rufous field wrens by as much as 655%. The dusky hopping mouse was also recorded at Boolcoomatta for the first time. A landscape once dismissed as too dry and marginal to matter could now become the species' last refuge if populations in Victoria and New South Wales collapse under drought or wildfire. Today, Boolcoomatta no longer resembles the depleted landscape it was in 2006. Saltbush plains have grown denser, creek lines hold water for days after rainfall, and mulga woodland is slowly filling spaces that were once left bare. But look across to neighboring grazing properties, and the contrast becomes immediate. The understory remains thin, Creek beds are heavily scoured, and the ground is so compacted that water struggles to soak in. None of this success is guaranteed. Operation Bounceback must continue controlling red foxes every year, because once that pressure is removed, they can return quickly. Plains wanderer populations in Victoria and New South Wales are still declining, and a severe drought could threaten everything rebuilt over nearly 2 decades. Even so, those 272 birds have proven something important. Land degraded over 150 years can begin recovering in less than 2 decades when its greatest pressures are removed. Sometimes restoration does not begin by bringing wildlife back. It begins by removing what has prevented wildlife from returning. If you believe this story deserves to reach more people, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.